the Brewery Underground podcast, we talk beer and we talk about a lot of other things. And Scott Turon, I think today, this episode, we're going to knock this one out of the park. What do you think?
You've been waiting all day to use that.
I have. You see what I did there, right?
Yeah, I see exactly what you did. Dude, there are three things that I love the most, and they all start with B, and maybe in no particular order, but beer, baseball, and bourbon. We could throw babes in there too, but that's probably a distant fourth. Anyway, but we're going to cover two of those four things today.
We are, and the reason we're doing this is because, and this it hits home for me, man. We're doing an episode. It's the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings vintage baseball team, and we have two guys that represent them. It is Dave Juggles Fischer and Dan Mutter Thomas coming to you from Cincinnati in their vintage uniforms. Guys, I don't have a vintage uniform, but as you can see, I'm still a little decked out in my Cincinnati.
You're representing the Natty. We like it.
Trying to do it. Guys.
He slept in that outfit.
Yeah. Guys, welcome. We appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks for having
very much.
Yeah.
Very much. And thanks for putting the uniforms on, man. That's even more than I could ever imagine. That's great.
We wanted to be official here.
It's official.
And I'm glad you said uniforms, because we've done a lot of parades, a lot with the Red. Oh, I like your outfit. Oh, I'm like, my outfit, it's a uni.
That's right.
That's right.
Get it straight, everybody. It's a uniform, for God's sakes.
That's right.
Yeah.
I told Mother a couple weeks ago, I was going through a drive-through, and I didn't have my hat on. I don't know if she saw the Red Sea or not. She's very nice at drive-through, and she goes, "Oh, you have a good day." She says, have a good day painting. You're a painter, right? I'm like, not really.
Yeah. It's the company name on the front here.
Oh my gosh, that is funny. Scott said in the beginning that the things he likes is baseball and bourbon and beer, right?
Yeah, beer. Uh-huh.
Guys, I'm telling you what, I came prepared tonight. Look at this. I have some bourbon.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Reds shot glass.
Wow.
There you go. Toast to you guys.
That is beautiful.
In fact, I have several Cincinnati Red shot glasses. Whenever I come up there, I go to the Reds gift shop and, I try to see what else they've got. As you can see in my background, I painted this room red about 7 or 8 years ago, hoping that maybe that would do it. Maybe that would get the World Series champions, the Reds, to victory. But,
Yeah.
Well, you brought your A game, so we better bring our A game.
Yeah.
Tried to do it.
I like the memorabilia on the wall back there. I got a whole bunch of it myself. I just got to finish my basement, and then maybe you guys can come to my house and we'll do a live broadcast from there.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I'd love to have you.
That. Yes.
That would be awesome.
Thank you for the invite. Steve, you've got some in your glass still. I started with some. It's gone now, but I'm gonna ask for a refill.
I got a bourbon bar down in New Richmond, down the hill from my house. I'm up on top of the hill.
Dan, why would you ever leave other than to go play baseball?
He does live in God's country. There's no doubt about
it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Are you guys drinking anything tonight?
No, I'm not. No.
I have enough trouble with the King's English by myself, being sober. So I thought it probably wouldn't help if I started slugging some down. But we'll certainly raise a toast to you.
Well, that's okay. A toast to you guys and
my water.
Yeah, I've actually also got some beer here tonight. This is Masthead Brewing up in Cleveland. That we were in Masthead. We were at Masthead Brewing a couple of months ago. So.
Check it out. I've got a Masthead too. It's the jalapeno IPA.
You got to realize we grew up, and we're a little bit older than you guys, but we grew up with Stroh's, Schlitz, PBR.
Beautiful.
I mean, Hootie. Wiedemann.
Hey,
so
what about Wiedemann?
Hey, you guys want to hear a funny story about Wiedemann? In fact, the last time we were in Cincinnati, we went to Wiedemann. And one of the funny things is I have a lot of history at Wiedemann Brewery. My family, well, I grew up on the west side of Cincinnati, but like my grandparents, they all grew up in St. Bernard, and we had the funerals for like our grandparents and a lot of relatives at Wiedemann Brewery. Well, when it was a funeral home, so back in the day. So it's kind of funny to go there now and going, yeah, I remember when growing up, I came to funerals here.
You know what? I believe that is a bar now. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Wiedemann. Yeah.
One of our players, we had a party there for one of our players. Very cool place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very neat.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Of course, you know, I'm sure you grew up listening to Marty and Joe like the rest of us.
Oh my gosh!
But one of my favorite commercials was, you know, like whatever year it was, in 1869, George Wiedemann's come up the Ohio River and he's got a monumental thirst.
Yeah, and for people that are tuning into our podcast and will be, and they're like, "Who's Marty and Joe?" And Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxall, who were, you know, together on the radio broadcast for so many years, and I mean, they're just absolute legends in the Cincinnati area. Yeah, yeah.
We're also involved with the Joe Nuxall Foundation. Dave and I Dave, he knows the family personally, and it's a great organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are just, you know, Kim Nuxall's, you know, Joe's son and his wife Bonnie. They're just absolute saints of people. And Kim was a high school gym teacher for many years, and they always started. You know, Joe always talked about character and then working that into character education. And they had this idea when Joe was still alive, and now it's just blossomed unbelievably. It's the greatest thing in the world. And they always thank us. We always show up and do stuff in uniform and help out, and it's like we get way more out of it than we put into it. You know, they've got fields for children with disabilities and handicaps. They're building a whole state of the art, you know, for basketball, volleyball, different events for that. They got a little putt Miracle League field thing, and it's just wonderful. Absolutely, just a wonderful event.
It was a few years ago when Sean Casey brought the kids in on a bus. You talk about a great day. It was just amazing. Just
the mayor.
Yeah, Sean Casey he's like the best ambassador for baseball possibly. This guy, he's amazing. He is such a nice young man.
And him and Joe were very tight. There's a story that Joe and Sean were, you know, coming up to the school where Kim taught, and the kids were all excited. And Sean's going, well, I guess, you know, all excited to see me. Like, no, it's Joe Nuxall. So Joe, this was his town. And one more funny story that my brother and I always went to the Knights of Columbus. They always had an annual stag in Hamilton, where Joe was from originally. And, you know, Joe was just in his element, just one of the guys. You know, he'd come up, walk in, you know, go straight to the bar, burn a heater, and, you know, sit up at the dais. And there's a local game called Pitch. It's similar to euchre, but it's only very local to Hamilton. It's a card game. So after the event, everybody's hanging there. So we're playing Pitch. And here comes Joe walking down, you know, to the tables. And my dad and myself and somebody got up and my brother was going to join in. And Joe goes, mind if I sit and play Pitch? I told my brother to get the hell out of here. I'm going to play with Nuxie.
Well, and for people that, you know, aren't of the age or may not know the history, not only was he a broadcaster for a long time, he also was the youngest player ever to pitch in Major League Baseball during, have I got this right, during World War II?
Correct.
Yeah.
He was 15 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, just a stud athlete. Knew a lot of the guys were off the war. And, you know, he, I mean, just raw talent, you know, just great athlete. But, you know, involved in the Reds for like 50, 60 years of his life, you know, or 70 almost. Unreal.
I remember seeing an interview one time when I believe he said one of the first few batters he faced was Stan Musial. So, you know, can you imagine being 15 years old facing Stan Musial?
It's amazing.
I couldn't even throw the ball. I'd be so nervous.
Well, you know, it's funny. We were talking before we came on about the young pitcher, Chase Burns, that just came up to the Reds. And Scott is not he's not from Cincinnati. He's actually a Yankees fan.
I'm sorry about your luck.
Yeah.
How'd 1976 work out for you?
But I was going to say, But I was going to say how intimidating it had to be for Chase Burns a few weeks ago to make his debut against the Yankees, and to also be like, he had to face Aaron Judge and some of the other ones, and he struck them out.
Right. Yeah, that was awesome. That was a good night to watch baseball. I mean, that kid come up here and he was throwing missiles. And
Scott, that was a shot. I have to apologize early because we've got a guy in our ball club who's from New York. And his response to me was like, well, how many have you won since then? Well, we have one in 1990. You guys won 6 or 8, whatever.
Yeah, in our comebacks a lot of times. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry.
funny you guys say that because I just got an email from our captain not long ago. We're actually playing ball next year in Cooperstown.
Wow. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which we had before.
Yeah.
Played on Doubleday Field, highlight. Unbelievable.
Holy crap. Is that part of like an invite or something you always working towards, or just part of a tournament or something?
I don't know how we got there, but this is a number of years ago. And vintage baseball is pretty big in the Northeast as well.
Yeah.
But, and we had a couple guys that were just unbelievably involved. It's called VBBA, Vintage Baseball Association, and they were very involved. And his brother was well known in New York. And so I think, of course, 1869 Red Stockings, very, very popular. But we've done unbelievably neat stuff, and that was one of the highlights.
Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. I hope there's a way we can watch that or see a replay or something when that happens.
That'd be cool. That was last year. We finished the season off playing at the stadium where they filmed the movie A League of Their Own.
Oh, nice.
And that was so cool. That was
in Evansville. That was in Evansville, right?
In Indiana, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is so cool there. And on the side of the stadium, there's no crying in baseball road on the stadium. And it was just fun. It was just a good time. And it's old, and that's what's fun about vintage baseball. We play so many different places. We've been all over the place. And remember, we went to Boston, and we stayed out of the downtown of Boston, and we caught the subway, and we came up in the Commons Park. We had our uniforms on with bats in the subway. People are looking at us like, what the heck is this? And we still call that the Boston Massacre to this day because they kicked our butts pretty good. But we had a lot of fun. And
Absolutely.
After we played ball, we walked straight across the street and went to Cheers Bar.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it's the experience in those cases, right? Just the whole experience has got to be phenomenal.
We got to play at the Jake. We played down in Lexington and Louisville, some AAA stadiums. And so Jose Rio, you remember Jose Rio from 1990?
Oh, yeah.
And it was me and my brother and my dad. We're all the way down there. And, I'm just bitching about Rio. God, he's lost. He doesn't have this and doesn't have this. And, we got to figure this out and everything. So they called us out to go up in the field. What a suck up I am. I ran up right to Rio like he was my hero and my best friend in the world after trashing for 2 hours and ride down. And then Jose Rio, funny guy, he had the best line ever. He was married to Juan Marichel's daughter. And unfortunately, they got a divorce. And he goes, well, my God, she's taking everything else. I wish she'd take half my ERA. Great line.
I'll tell you what, though, he burned them up in the World Series. I mean,
I was so fortunate. I was at Game 1 of 1990 World Series, and it was him and Dave Stewart, and Jose was just throwing BBs, and then Eric Davis goes up to bottom first, launches a shot to straightaway center, and they're like, wow.
Yeah, we're going to get back there one day, right? We're going to get back there and win again.
Yeah, we hope. Before me and Mother die, we hope.
Hopefully in our lifetimes. Gosh almighty.
Man, I hope so.
We want it. Yeah.
I hope it's at Great American Ballpark, too.
We hope so. We hope so. I know Scott's got some questions because we really wanted to dive in, as we say, of, the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings, which was the original name of the team. And for people that are not familiar, the Reds were actually the very first Major League Baseball team. And for you guys, basically, it is kind of a tribute to all of that. And, you're a vintage baseball team and you play by the rules of the 1860s. And let's really talk about that, about what you guys do, where you go and things like that.
Okay.
Well, this year, I mean, we're ending our season this year in Gatlinburg. To see, I got my schedule in front of me, which is pretty intense. But
Wow.
and a few weeks ago, we were in Detroit, and we played in Detroit, and that was amazing. They got a place there. It's called Deerfield Park, Greenfield Village, and it is. If you guys ever get there, I highly recommend. It's very cool. But
I was there as a kid.
yeah, we play. I'd say probably around 35. I would say 35 to 50 games a year, somewhere in there. Sometimes double headers, and matter of fact, we play this Sunday up in Tip City. So, and it's a double header up there too. So, we enjoy the game. I mean, and Juggles, he played longer than me. This is my 19th year, and him and his brother Dave, and it's just something we truly love to do. Once you get through your hole and then your high school, and if you don't go farther, then most people wind up playing softball. But this is my buddy got me into this, and I just stuck. It just stuck. I mean, it's the game, man. I mean, if you love the game, it's in your heart, it's in your blood. You just got to be around it.
Well, and the thing of it is too, and I don't know, Steve, if you remember Rumpke, the softball fields.
Oh, yeah.
Corey, out in your neck of the woods.
Are they still there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
You've seen it, if you've been there, you got angry softball guy. He wants to, he wants to slug in, get in a fight, everything. And vintage is the total opposite. We do try to recreate as the game as was played, but it was a gentleman's game. If one umpire stands, off to the side, whether in first or third base side, and he'll make the call. And if it's a questionable call, because he can't see everything from that angle, well, they ask the players involved. And 9 times out of 10, everybody's a good sport in vintage. They really are. They're good dudes. And like, yes, sir, I was out, and he takes his medicine, walks off, because he was out, So very rarely do you get it, any kind of confrontation. Now, between the white lines, the guys want to win. There's no question.
Yeah.
And it's just, where do you get that opportunity at this age to play ball? And again, you get that feeling, you get little butterflies, it's game on. And, we, Mother and I both play first. And, I'm kind of like Sean Casey. I'm just talking to everybody down there. But I've often said, guys, if you see us laughing on the bench, we could be up 20, down 20. And if we're up 20, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing at ourselves.
You wouldn't know.
Somebody's going to be on the hot seat.
Yeah.
And we get on each other all the time. I mean, let's face it, as you get older, everything slows down on you. I mean, sometimes people ask if I'm even moving when I'm still running the first. They say, is that guy moving? Is he okay? But it's you can still have fun with it. It's a good time.
One of our good buddies, he was still a good hitter, and his son was playing. And so I got married and, children and stuff. So they both said they weren't going to play the following year. I said, Papa, I said, well, you can still hit. Guy could place the ball like a cue ball magician. It was unreal. And he goes, Juggles, he goes, they throw me out from right now. I'm getting out before they throw me out from left. So, Father Time, undefeated, untied, unscored upon, and he gets us all, And, but we've seen guys late 70s. We had a couple guys into their 70s. And, you don't, there's probably going to be an out, but you don't care because he's still out there playing ball.
Yeah.
The like one story, we talked about Cooperstown a little bit before the recording. And, I was raising 2 boys and busy with work and everything. And I was like, gosh, do we keep on playing, And we went to a bat shop, and I just picked up a bat. And it just felt like, gosh, I should buy this bat. It just felt so great. I took a couple little practice swings there, and I'm thinking, what are you thinking? This is the greatest game on the face of earth. Why in the hell would you ever think about quitting? It's just, Mother's right. It just grabs your heart and it won't let go.
And you just want to be around it.
Yeah.
Go back to the gentlemanly part of the game. I listened to something on YouTube, and another example was if the other team might make a good play on something, you guys may even applaud that too at the same time. Is that kind of part of that same? Yeah.
Yes, we do. They make a good play. It's a gentleman's game, And when you see somebody all out effort, you let them know that you appreciate that. When I always say is playing the game the way Pete would play it, and everybody knows he played hard.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So,
A great quote of Pete was in the Hall of Fame, and they had all his hits, all the balls representing his number of hits. And one of the sayings was, "I'd walk through hell in a gasoline suit to play baseball."
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you feel.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right,
I was.
Scott. I mean, when you see somebody make a play like that, and I played a ton of softball, loved it, and my brother moved back here first. We were still I was in Columbus, and he'd moved back and came back, and he was, "There's this thing you want to try, this vintage baseball." So I had pretty good wheels back in the day, and I was always an outfielder, so I played left, and we don't use gloves. It's just, and trying to catch it, just even when you're standing there stationary, much less running catch. And I would get to the point where, I'm used to that glove, and I hit, and I'd be juggling the ball and and that's how I got my nickname of Juggles. Because you're just juggling the ball, trying to say it. And speaking of, I don't be able to see it, but this is the ball we use.
Yeah. And let me tell you, it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
when you first start it, and you're not wearing any gloves. Matter of fact, last year I tell a story. The first game of the season, the guy playing right field took a line drive and it broke his finger in right field.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, we hope the old vintage home has straws, because we all are.
Yeah.
Just matter of fact, another story is back up at Tip City, and our little buddy, the referred to earlier, not involved. He's playing second. He throws when it's real low, and I go down, and you remember we used to call it stoving your finger,
Yeah.
Well, we've all had that, and it is bad. Next inning, worse, and black and blue, and then it looked like a Z, and Mutter goes, well, he goes, hell, I'll just pull that for you. I'm like, I don't know. It's getting worse and worse. And I'm in pharmaceutical sales. I've been around medical my whole life. And like, this thing's it's bad. So I'm like, I'm leaving. I drove and go back home and go to the ER. They come in and they're looking, that's a good one, and this, that, and they do everything. I'm like, I'm ready for okay, where's the hand specialist? Where's the operation? Back comes in. He goes, yeah, get ready. We're going to pull it. I'm like, damn it, man. My buddy could have done it for free. I get hit with a $50 copay here, $100 copay there. And I'm like, you're going to give me a towel to bite on?
And you still be at the ballpark.
Yeah, I didn't want him walking around with that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Hey, the ball that you show that you're using now, what's the difference? Do you know what the difference is between that ball and what they use now in Major League Baseball?
I would say the stitching is not raised like a regular hard ball, and the hard ball obviously is a little harder. The core of it is a little harder. Otherwise, I mean, there's no way we could catch a hard ball barehanded as hard as some guys hit. But let me tell you, I can come home after a game and it'll take a week or more for the bruises to go away on my hand.
Yeah,
but you know what? I still love it. I come back again for more.
And the other thing is too, I mean, they're factory made, and once they come off the factory, a new ball, it's like tell outfielders, hey, back up a couple steps. That ball jumps off there. But after a hard hit game, or if there's any kind of moisture, that ball start feeling the effects, a little bit more. Not that it gets mushy, but won't hold up to the consistency like a hard ball would for a majority of the game. But yeah, Mutter's right. It's those balls are coming at you, and you got a runner coming at you, and it's like it's not for the faint of heart.
Do you have a technique when you try to catch? A line drive is one thing that's kind of reactionary sometimes, but say a pop up or something in the outfield.
Sometimes I'll use my body, if you will. If it's a line drive coming at me, I'll let it hit my hands, but I'll trap it against my body.
Okay.
To help tone. And depending on, I've never really taken one in the gut real hard yet. If I do that, then probably some biscuit and gravy might come up, but but luckily I haven't done that yet.
Well, my technique is this.
You just try to keep it away from your face, maybe, and
that would be bad. I've
What's
seen
that? Yeah. I was in sales for Jordan my career. I'm like, I don't care about the hands. Like, don't hurt the moneymaker. Come on now. Don't hurt the moneymaker.
I tell you, one of the greatest things to me is when we travel, we go out of town. Some certain people they really lay out the red carpet for you, and that's so much fun. Remember, we went to was that Philly? We played at the Lafayette Square where they used to train Civil War soldiers before they go in.
Wow.
And we played there, and they brought us in on like Clydesdale pulling a carriage. We were all in the carriage, and it went around the whole square and brought us back. That was so much fun. People do stuff like in St. Louis, Boston, New York. I mean,
well, and the other thing is too, we had a really good travel squad, and for vintage to work, you have to have a home and home. You just can't. And we're biased. We think we have the most beautiful field. And Steve, you probably you're familiar with Sharon Woods.
Yes.
Now, if you ever went back to what's called Heritage Village, we had some of the houses and stuff from 1800s time, but the field just outlay. It's just we're so biased, but you have to go and visit. And we had a great run of a number of years that it was the family would go. People bring their kids, and we all stayed at the same hotel and go swimming and do stuff with the kids. And it was a family affair. We included the whole family, and I'd be remiss if I don't give my little buddy Claire a shout out. She's Danny's grandchild. She's a sweetheart. She's lovely.
Bill Dickman is one of a kind. He was our president for many years, and he is an absolutely wonderful man and a wonderful friend. And I got to tell you, I'd be lost without him.
Yeah, we've just blessed with so many guys. It was him and Big Dog and Knuckles, and stick with the nicknames that really did a lot of work and did a lot of work for VBBA and scheduling, and our reputation is pretty pristine around the game, and those three gentlemen have a lot to do with it.
This league has been around since 2000. Is that right?
I thought it was before that even. Maybe
it was before that.
They actually used to be the Shamrocks. That was before me.
Okay, and
then they became the Cincinnati Red Stockings. Yeah.
Yeah. How many teams participate now in this?
Oh God, they're everywhere.
I knew you were going to ask, and I was going to look it up, and I got so busy.
That's okay.
But heavy in the Northeast, places like Nashville, grown. We tried to create the Reds, 1869 trip, and we did it a couple years ago, and we did get to play some places. We talked about California, but it just didn't pay out. But there are teams out there. I'd say maybe a couple hundred across the country, every bit of.
Yeah, it's big. Now they do the World Series up in where we played in Detroit a few weeks ago. They have the World Series up there, and from what I hear, it's haven't done that yet, but from what I hear, it's very nice, and that's a cool park, good venue to play at. But by far, Heritage Village and Sharon Woods is the best. Better than any place I've ever played.
That's amazing.
We're a little biased.
When you play other teams like that from across the country, do you guys have to settle on a set of rules? Because are they playing in the same era? Are they playing a little bit of different era? Are there certain things you have to work out ahead of time, rules wise?
Yeah, we played different rules. Sometimes we played a one bound rule, where if they catch it on one bounce, you're out. I mean, you can hit I can't tell you how many times a good line drive to left field, and left fielder just play it on one bounce and you're out. And I'm not a big fan of that unless I'm playing defense.
But you're right. It's depending on your home rules, and people usually know it. And we'll go over the game, the two captains, and just go over some rules. But some guys have which is kind of neat. It mixes it up. We always say if a man catches on the fly, that's a manly catch, and instead of letting it bounce. But
we played up in what was it? Where they had a lot of Civil War up there. What was that at? Gettysburg. We played in Gettysburg. The Gettysburg rules there, they steal bases. Well, I'm here to tell you, it wasn't. We had fun. We're going to have fun no matter what we do. But our catcher and our pitcher, they would have to do a relay to get at second base. So anybody got a hit, they were most likely going to wind up at third base. So it wasn't our kind of game. But we still have fun. And believe it or not, I think we were like 1-3, so we were okay for that. And there's so much history there. My God, we did an interview with a guy up there. He was from I forget what sports channel he was, and you can look it up on Vintage Baseball Gettysburg and 2014 we were there, and it was great to do the interview with them and talk vintage baseball. And man, what a place! You ever get a chance to go to Gettysburg, I highly recommend it, because they set up a whole little town the ball players do, and they put up tents. I'm not talking tents like today, old time tents, and they stay there for the whole weekend. 3 or 4 days they camp out there, and all they do is eat and play baseball and drink.
Hey, we're going to get back to the podcast episode in just a minute. But Scott, right now, we want to talk about our proud sponsor, Nashville Brew Pass.
We love them, don't we?
We do. We do. And tell everybody what Nashville Brew Pass is.
Nashville Brew Pass. And if you haven't seen us hold this booklet up 100 times, here's 101. That's what it is. It's a passport. It's got multiple breweries in here. I think we counted 40 plus or something at one time, Steve.
There are many, many breweries in here. There is even a QR code in this book that shows you a map and list of all the breweries that are in Nashville Brew Pass.
Yeah, and it's great. It's got over $60 worth of beer and whiskey discounts in this thing alone. So in that $60 worth of discounts, that includes like buy one, get one frees, half off pints, a free whiskey pour at one of the local tap rooms.
Yes.
Pays for itself twice over.
That is a great thing, man. If you don't have this yet, go online at NashvilleBrewPass.com. Also, go on their Instagram account, and you can get one of those as well.
Get it and put in the code Brewery Underground Podcast. Get your $5 off.
All right. That is awesome.
The other things you get too, Steve, is when you go to one of the events, you don't even have to register. You just show up with it. It's like you're a VIP. You just show up with your brew pass. You're already on the guest list.
And boom, you know what they're going to do? They are going to give you a stamp.
Bam.
Bam.
Bam, a stamp. You got to get a stamp.
Well, I'll tell you this much right now, my friend. I love the savings. I love the fact that Nashville Brew Pass is very involved in the beer community in Nashville. Also, as you said, they're also involved in distilleries in Nashville and a couple of cideries as well. So we love them.
I thought of something cool today, Steve. If someone was new to Nashville and didn't know where to go, this would be something great for them to pick up or be gifted so that they would know all the best places to go in town.
That's right. Fantastic resource. So if you're coming into Nashville, go online and get this right now.
Right. It takes the guesswork out of it. You don't have to get online and say, where are all the breweries at in Nashville? They're all right here. You just get your booklet. And like you said earlier, there's a map. You look up the map. It tells you exactly where everybody is.
That's our proud sponsor, Nashville Brew Pass. Now back to the show.
Now back to the show.
Obviously, you guys are having fun, but how important is it for the both of you and for everybody that's involved in your league and on the team to go back and look at the purity of the game and play the way it used to be
That we try to
when
do
it
that.
first started?
Yeah, we try to do that to the best of our knowledge. We have some of the guys on our team they're like historians, and they get deep into it, and they make sure that it's followed as closely as possible.
Yeah, and again, when I try to tell people about it, I think the easiest way to get people to identify, especially if they're not big sports fans, is, many people have seen the Civil War reenactment group, go on the fields and dress in uniform, and et cetera. And I say it's kind of like that. We want to reenact how it was, but yeah, it's to the game as close as possible. And, 3 gentlemen I mentioned earlier, our reputation is sterling. And, he always, would remind us, we have 2 meetings a year. And it's like, guys, let's not have Nike, logos. Let's have, black cleats and bats and keep it the way it is. Cause, some people, they may, think, oh, this is just a bunch of, baseball players, whatever. But we do want to, spread the word about how baseball was in 1869 and the various years we played. And, I think we've done a good job of that. But again, between the white lines, still want to win.
Yeah, it's not a reenactment per se. You're doing it by those rules from the day, but you're legitimately playing the game.
Without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, once the game starts, I mean, it's just, balls to the wall. It's like, you go everything you can. And, it's funny. We, we've all been baseball crazy our whole lives. And, I never heard the word oblique until like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
These guys, they roll out of bed and they're on the DL for, 6 months. But so we finally figured it out. to our guys, like, well, we're weekend warriors. We play, we go hard, and it's like we never get hurt. So we kind of figured out that, well, you can pull muscle, but you can't pull fat. So that's the way we think. That we've gotten by without killing ourselves.
You figured it out. Huh?
Yeah.
It's funny because we could talk this whole podcast, and we want to focus more on you guys, but we could talk this whole podcast about how much the game has changed, even from my own perspective, right? So I've been a lifelong Reds fan. I grew up as a kid. I sort of remember the Big Red Machine, but I really remember you mentioned Pete Rose earlier, and I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. So I remember when Pete came back to the Reds as player manager, and I was at a game, and I knew it at the time that I was witnessing history when they played the Houston Astros, and he went up against Nolan Ryan.
That's classic.
And so I'm like, so here I am watching a game where, basically one of the best hitters, or probably the greatest singles hitter ever, and arguably the best pitcher ever. And the thing is, Nolan Ryan was known as a guy that would do the brush pack pitch. Mm-hmm. And even that in Major League Baseball has changed now. I mean, you throw at a guy's head and you're getting thrown out of the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, back in the day, I mean, I go all the way back, and so does Dave. I went to games with my father at Crosley Field, and Pete was playing left field. But back then, you had guys like Bob Gibson. You didn't want to dig in against him.
Drysdale.
Yeah. And it has changed. And most of the time now, if they throw it close to somebody, they're charging the mound or doing something. It's part of the game. It's like it just happens. It's like running a catcher over, like Pete did Fosse in the All-Star game.
Yeah,
it's part of the game. But now I don't think that's even part of it anymore. They gotta. Well, to me, I'm old school. I like that. I mean, I seen Pete one time when he's with Philadelphia come home, and I forget the catcher's name. He won the World Series with the Giants as a manager, but Pete didn't have to hit him, but he did. He just wanted to hit him, But that's and that's how he played the game. And Larry Boa said one time, he said, "I've never played with anybody with so much intensity in my life." He said, "Every game is the ninth inning of the seventh game of the World Series, ninth inning, and Pete plays every game like that." And even Johnny Bench said the same thing. He goes, "Pete," he said, "he had to be the best at everything." He said whether it was basketball, if it was bowling, he even said if it was unisex, he said he's got to be the best at everything.
I mean, we need to do just a whole Pete podcast because you open up Pandora's box and Pete is my guy. Both of our basements are all decorated in Reds memorabilia, but my bathroom is strictly just Pete. So let me go off the rails just a little bit here. Just a couple of things. Played 500 games at 5 different positions. People talk about sports records. That'll never be broken ever. In 75, the Reds were 20-20 in May. And Sparky always called him Peter Edward. He goes, "Peter Edward," he goes, "you're playing left." He goes, "We need to get George Foster in this lineup. He's got this thunderous bat." And he goes, "Would you play third?" He goes, "Sure, Skip, no problem." It took numerous ground balls. They went on a tear after that. They won 88-34 with Pete moving to third. And just, I mean, anytime Pete talks, I could listen all day long. Of course, so sad earlier, last fall when we lost Pete, I mean, I could listen to him all day long. So he was doing an interview, and this guy he's kind of a young pup, cub reporter, type of thing. And he was kind of all, flushing. Pete knew every single one of his stats. Now, if you guys remember Phil and Joe Necro, the Necro brothers, they were
knuckleballers.
Knuckleballers, right. This guy was doing the interview, and he said this about hits, and Pete corrected him this, and he said something about, you hit this against the Necro brothers. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I wish Mama Necro would have had 2 or 3 more boys. I'd have had another 500 hits."
When Pete died, I was in my car. I was out doing errands, and I got 3 text messages within like 5 minutes. One was from Scott, another one was from my sister, and another one was a buddy of mine who lives in Dallas, who's from Cincinnati, and they're all texting me at the same time, and I'm like, what is going on? And I looked at my and I'm like, Pete died. and he had just been in Nashville the day before for a card signing or some event where the Big Red Machine had gathered.
Yeah, I saw the picture of him and all the guys from the Big Red Machine behind him. He was sitting down. Pete was sitting down, and man, that was, he was like a hero to me. So it hit home.
So should he be in the Hall of Fame, guys?
Yeah. Oh, yes, without a doubt.
No question.
I say
just making a point.
Yeah.
I say this though, isn't he already in the Hall of Fame because they already have his memorabilia in there? It's
just, I mean, it's a shame, and the thing that really, really upsets us is,
did you guys ever watch his reality show?
I think once or twice.
Okay, he was with his wife, and they had the kids, and they were in Cooperstown. And I remember watching that, and she said, "Let's go on in. You want to go on in?" He said, "No." He said, "Not until I'm invited." And that was hard. That was rough because, like Juggles says, the man should be there.
Yeah. Well, and the thing
what he did between the lines, come on.
Yeah. And the thing now, and I love Major League Baseball, but the hypocrisy of those guys that in bed with FanDuel and DraftKings and all the betting stuff, and bet from your seat and bet, and I'm like, how hypocritical can you get? I mean, my God, I mean, it really rankled me, and I'm that point now. I'm like, I don't, I was going to go no matter what. I had to walk to Cooperstown to see Pete induction, and now I'm like,
sure.
I just don't know. It just seems like it's almost hollow at that point,
They had
for me, it's always been one of those things where you go, you wish in the beginning he would have just come out and told the truth, and he didn't help himself there. But as time had gone on, it made it such a bigger deal, and they were never going to put him in because, when he was alive, because if they would have, he would have legitimately overshadowed anybody else that would have gotten in during that same year. Mm-hmm. But it's also crappy that they wait till he dies and oh yeah, by the way, you could be eligible now. So it's a damn if you do and you damn if you don't.
It's sad because if they do elect him, he does get in, and we play ball there next year. And here you got Dave Parker going in, another local Cincinnati kid,
who just recently passed away.
Exactly, and he won't get to enjoy that day that he should have. It's sad. It's just
I never understood. It's like the stats are there. All of a sudden, you keep him out for 20 years, you put him in. I don't get that. What's changed?
It's some of these writers.
You're either in or out, and it shouldn't take years. Our veterans committee. I've never understood that, but indulge me with one more thing with Pete, because again, I could go all night, and I don't want to bogart the mic or anything here. But
it's okay.
All right, so it's the 7th game of the World Series, bottom of the 9th. You're at home, okay. Tie game, man on second. I'll give you 3 guys to pick from who you want up the bat. Okay, obviously for me, one be Pete, the other one's Teddy Ballgame, Ted Williams, or Tony Gwynn. Who do you pick?
Yeah. Yes, that's good company.
Who do you pick to have that AB if you're the manager?
Yeah, I would always go with Pete, but just because I've got to meet him a few times and he's my hero. But I mean, Tony Gwynn, come on, that guy was amazing.
I again did my homework. 338 lifetime batting average. He faced Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz 287 times, struck out 3 times.
Yeah,
we got Maddox never got him. Glavine got him twice, and Smoltz got him once. That's unbelievable. Ellie De La Cruz, tremendous ball player. 300 games in, 460 strikeouts. Gwynn career 338. It's staggering
for career.
Well,
yeah.
Well, and that's another thing that again, part of a larger conversation of how the game has changed.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Ellie will end up probably going to the Dodgers or hopefully not the Yankees, Scott. But
oh, the Dodgers are better. Oh, we'd rather go to the Dodgers.
I don't know.
It's all about the money.
Yeah, it's all about the money. But I look at it and I go, your point there, Dave, where he's struck out so many times, but now a guy that has struck out that many times but ends the season and he's got like 38 home runs or 28 home runs, and he's got a 270 average, is considered one of the more premier baseball players.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, that wouldn't have flown at all.
Right. I saw a clip of Pete recently, and he goes, "I can't watch baseball today." He goes, "There's no hit and run. There's no strategy. There's no moving a man over. These guys strike out way too much. And, it's like chicks dig the long ball, and that's where the money's at." Yeah. And, like Mother said, old school. I mean, you give me a good old 1-0 pitcher's duel or, fundamental baseball, bunt him over, get him in, I take that all day long, but the game has changed. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, Big Red Machine, everybody loved Don Gullett. And I mean, he could throw missiles in there. And I'm almost positive to say he was throwing over 100 miles an hour back then. Of course, they didn't have the radar gun, but, and I was fortunate enough last week to meet Fred Norman. He was one of the Big Red Machine players. Gary Nolan, they were all at the museum, the Reds museum downtown, because the Big Red Machine was in town. So I got to meet them. And of course, George Foster I met before, but the Big Red Machine, I actually got to sit and talk with George Foster one time. And I said, you guys, it's almost like watching them play. It's almost like they toyed with people. They would, if they had a 1-run lead on it and they thought they were going to beat them, then they'd wind up pulling it out in the end. It was just, they were that good, man.
And Sparky was known as Captain Hook, but Bench recently came out and said, he goes, "Hey, it was me. I was Captain Hook." And he goes, "Spark, get somebody up because he's out of gas." And, Johnny was that good of a catcher and, it revolutionized the position. But I would digress. I didn't get your answer. Scott and Steve, I need your answer for who do you want the AB in that last AB?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with Pete.
With who?
I'm going to go with Pete.
For getting that hit. Yeah.
Scott?
Yeah. It's not a bad choice either. And you know what? I'm going to go with you guys. Let's go with Pete. Although Gwen is that's 1A, 1B because Gwen is not going to strike out in that situation either. So
yeah.
Okay. And then give me one more because I did the homework. So Game 7 again. Your starting pitcher, and I'm not even going to give you the two I'd said, but who do you have of all time, all throughout the history of the game, up until today's pitcher, whoever you can start anybody you want to win that Game 7 for you. Who do you pick? That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
I
all
mean,
the way back through history, huh?
Yeah.
There's 5 guys that come into my head.
Okay.
One of them I just mentioned was Nolan Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Another one who played for the Reds and the Mets, Tom Seaver.
Yep.
Sandy Koufax.
Cincinnati boy.
Yeah. Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
Or Tom Glavine.
Oh man, that's good. What about Tom Glavine? What about Maddox?
Yeah. I mean, there's no wrong answers when you're in that stratosphere. How about you guys?
Yeah, Sandy Koufax pitched for University of Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So he was tough. Matter of fact, Pete always said he was one of the toughest to hit off of. Him and J.R. Richards, remember him?
Yes.
Yeah, and if he wouldn't have had a stroke, who knows?
Yeah, played for the Astros, right?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
So Scott, who's going to toe the rubber for you?
Yeah, and just so I don't repeat some of your answers, but somebody like maybe a Clemens in his heyday.
Yeah,
maybe Roger Clemens. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be a little bit behind her, but Andy Pettit during that run we had with the Yankees, that guy was when we were in a stretch and that guy came out here, he would change the game, man. He could shut him down.
How those pictures of the camera, you kind of remember that from that,
Yeah, if we were on a losing streak or something, you put him out, he was the showstopper, man. He could end that streak for you. So Pettit and go back to one you guys mentioned earlier, Bob Gibson. Man, that guy, he'd scare the shit out of you. He would.
I just jotted this down. In 68, he went 22-9, 268 strikeouts, 28 complete games.
Yeah.
By himself.
That's crazy. Isn't it? That's crazy.
13 strikeouts.
Now
34
appearances. Make it to the 5th inning, they get pulled.
Yeah, 304 innings. And that year he won the National League Cy Young Award and NL MVP. And in 1969, they lowered the mound from 15 to 10 inches, called it the Bob Gibson rule. That's dominance.
Yes,
Much as true, you're up there sweating bullets because if he comes up and inside, you you don't want to cross that man. So again, no wrong answers.
No,
that's
no. But you know what's going to happen when this thing ends? I'm gonna wake up tonight and thinking, God, I should have said this guy, or should have said
I'm
this
gonna
guy.
say somebody else.
Yeah, but you've got the power of the edit.
There'll be another 100 guys. I'll think of it. Why didn't I say this?
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, when we get done with games, there's a core of us, and we'll sit around and just chew the fat, tell stories, have some beers and cigars, and every single guy is just a baseball savant, idiot, call it whatever you want. And again, that's the greatest thing about baseball. You can talk and no wrong answers, and generational and type of thing. And then the one thing I was going to say that if we'd have like a 2:00 game or whatever, usually games are a couple hours, and a good night for us was the heart of summertime. You're drinking your beers and it's all great. Next thing, like, we've been here a while. The fireflies are out. So if you had a firefly day and night at the yard, not a bad way to spend it.
No, that's beautiful. Yes, that's such a summer day, isn't it?
I'll tell you a quick story, kind of cute. My grandson was little, Timmy, and we were at Reds Fest, and because of our uniforms and representing, the Cincinnati Reds from 1869, we get to meet a lot of the old players. Yeah. So we're in behind the curtains, and I'm holding my grandson, and Lee May said, "Hey, let me bring that boy over here." So he held my grandson for a little bit, and then Eric Davis said, "Bring him over here." So I took him over. I gave him to Eric Davis. Now that day, Eric Davis was wearing all black, and a gold chain. And Eric held him for a little bit, and he gave him back to me. I literally just walked out behind the curtains, and he threw up everywhere. And I thought to myself, what would have happened if he threw up on Eric Davis?
Oh, my gosh.
I never heard of it. That's a good one.
That'd be another story, though.
Well, speaking of that, I would, we'd had Reds Fest, and we would get, like, Danny said, behind the curtain. And my boys thought it was like, well, doesn't every, 8, 10-year-old do this? Go back and talk to Barry Larkin and Marty Brenneman and Eric Davis and, whoever else. And they were like, it just was like, yeah, doesn't every kid do this? I get home, I'm, busting ass down the highway and trying to get them there and get on time and everything. And, but one night they, I let them loose and gave them some money, and they went back, a bunch of baseball cards, and they got to, meet people, and came back home. It was almost like Halloween night when you sit down and like trade candy. Well, they were trading baseball cards. And my oldest, he goes, "Dad," he goes, "this was the greatest day of my life."
So my gosh.
I think I'm doing something right as a father here, it's a scoreboard.
That's great. The shirt I'm wearing, I don't know if you can see it or not, number 19.
Yeah, a little Votto.
Joseph Daniel.
And I'll tell you what, man, he will go down as one of my favorite players. I love that guy. I hope he gets in the Hall of Fame. He really should.
Yeah, class that.
So I'm surprised he's not doing some announcing, because when he was on, he was fantastic.
Tremendous.
So I just said that the other day to my wife, where is Votto? Have anybody heard anything from him?
Pretty much off the radar, off the grid. But, we'd be playing. He was my favorite Red of this, this last, current crop.
Yes.
Seemed to be a big gravitate to the first baseman guys, Pete, Tony, Votto. But he had a saying that, and we'd be sitting there, we get 6th, 7th inning, and he goes, "My boys, it's hit." He goes, "It gets late early." And that expression always stuck with me. I'm like, yeah, we got hit now, because it gets late early on. Next thing you know, like, oh my God, 8th, 9th inning. And, I just thought that was one of the coolest expressions.
So here's a question for you guys. If you're fielding the all-time Cincinnati Reds team as to who is playing every position, is Joey Votto in the starting lineup?
Ooh.
I mean, let's face it, and Pete even said it himself, Votto could have played with the Big Red Machine for sure. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, as much as I love him, but Tony Perez was the glue to the Big Red Machine. So
yeah,
big dog, man.
Yeah, he just, see the ball, hit the ball. I mean, that was Tony. Best advice ever in baseball. So, as much as I, again, no wrong answer, but boy, when you have the glue with all those superstars and unsung hero,
Scott, tell the story that we were at the Reds game 2 years ago and Pete was there. You remember that?
Oh, when they were playing the Yankees?
Yeah, we didn't know until the next day we were coming back to Nashville.
Yeah, he was sitting. I guess he was sitting somewhere really close to home plate, right? Yeah. Again, we didn't see it till we saw it on the ESPN or something. And Aaron Judge, apparently, when he's on deck, just kind of walks up and just starts talking to Pete through the net,
Oh,
like
yeah.
right there at the wall. We had no idea until we saw it on like Sports Center or something. I was like, "That's cool. We were there."
I
Yeah.
remember seeing that on SportsCenter. I
I did
remember
too.
seeing
Yeah.
Aaron Judge
Yep.
do that, and that was a
Yeah,
cool.
he was just
thing.
chatting him up.
Well, and I said this when we were at that Yankees Red series, and I'm sitting next to Scott, who's a Yankees fan, and there's all these Yankees fans around. This is what I said. I went, whenever Aaron Judge came up to bat, everybody, well, the Yankees fans, all stood up, right? And there were a lot of them there. How many players in Major League Baseball now come to the plate, and everybody is standing up because they know something big's going to happen?
That's there's not many.
No.
It's cool to watch that and to be a part of that. There's not many that do that. He's one of a kind. I think when it's all said and done, I don't know. You might be looking at the home run king after his career's over. You never know.
You got to stay healthy. But the one thing too that I like is if you never hear anything bad about them in their personal life. And
Yeah.
Scott, you could probably say with the captain with Jeter, you never heard anything bad about
That's
him.
right.
And
You hold yourself to a higher standard in that
no
role,
doubt. And I do think the pride of putting on the Yankee uniform. There's something about that. Worst trade ever when we had Paul O'Neill for Roberto Kelly. Worst
Oh my God!
trade
Yes.
ever.
not for us.
Oh no! And here, Paul O'Neill, he's with the monument with the greats.
Yeah.
But
he announces with the Yankees too. I think he's up there with Michael Kay. So we love him. We love
Paul O'Neill's
O'Neill.
great. He's good. He's a good guy.
He's
But
that warrior type.
Yeah, and I think guys like that, they're easy to root for. Instead of some of the knuckleheads in today's pro sports, and when he had his rough run in the World Series, I just felt bad for the guy, because like I say, he's a good guy, and people have no idea how hard that game is. I mean, people don't. Oh, that bum, he can't hit or whatever. You try it, especially like a Gibson or a Drysdale or Raymond Johnson. The other thing was Raymond Johnson's a great story. He said. He goes, I don't have a gun in my house. I don't have a gun under my bed. He goes, but you might not want to break in here because I do have a bag of baseball sitting right next to my bed.
He's pretty deadly with those. That's that bird.
Yeah, just going to say the bird.
Here's another one. I don't know where Scott ranks on this, but I know the three of us probably agree. Is there any better catcher ever in Major League Baseball than Johnny Bench?
Nope. He set the standard, and nobody can live up to it. I mean, the guy was amazing. Yeah. And then over 300 home runs, lifetime home runs.
No
I mean,
doubt.
come on.
And the only one, for me, go back and look at would be Yogi Berra. I mean, you look at his stats and the number of World Series, unbelievable. But yeah, Mutter's right. He just revolutionized the position. Yeah. Unbelievable. Smart. Again, he was Captain Hook. Wasn't Sparky so much, and he ran that like a general on the field. And pretty good run there.
I tell you.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say Johnny he set a standard so high it was just hard to live up to. Like Sparky said, he said Johnny Bench was the best as far as position players, the best catcher that he's ever seen in his life. Now you're talking about a man that's seen a lot of people play baseball and coming from a three-time world champion, once with Detroit and twice with the Reds. Yeah. That's saying something. I mean,
well, and further on that, and I haven't looked at the stats of comparisons. Say Yogi Berra, who's obviously right up there too. What a lot of people may not realize is that Johnny Bench actually was the last year. I think it was the last year of his playing career, he played third base because his knees were basically shot. Yeah. And so he was 35 when he retired. And, so basically he spent 34 years, well, not 34 years, but he was 34 when he quit catching. And a lot of guys have, deeper in their careers, they're still playing. I mean, that alone, over that period of time, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, the guys today, let's face it, they're bigger, they're stronger, faster. They have more things that they can do to put them at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to compare errors. I mean, travel and weights and equipment and dining and all that stuff. It's very hard to compare errors. And then, and not to get off because it's, a different tangent, but, when you talk about, MJ versus LeBron, to me, there's just no comparison. There's none,
To me, it's MJ all day.
Yeah. And same here.
Yeah.
And then if you have to call yourself the GOAT, you may not be the GOAT if you got to call yourself that.
One of you guys mentioned, I think it was Steve mentioned Yogi Berra. I mean, what a career that man had.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the World Series he won. He was a good catcher.
Well, then, those guys too.
I just think Bench was just a little.
Yeah.
He definitely had a better arm. I just give the edge to Bench, but Yogi Berra by far.
And again,
he was a good catcher.
Scott, you probably correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't he serve in World War II as well?
He did.
It's just like Teddy Ballgame. Those guys got lost a couple of years out of
Yes.
their career.
Yeah.
And again, they don't make them like that. You're unbelievable. You're a major league ball player, and you go serve your country, and no easy things. Both I think were aviators and flying missions. They just don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah, you got to give it to the old timers. You think about these guys didn't make much money, not like they do today, not even close,
No.
and they would get winter jobs.
Yeah.
When it was the off season, they were doing something else or barnstorming or something. They went around the country to make some actual real money.
I always wondered, and see what you guys think about. And Steve, you're from Cincinnati. Arnold's Bar, downtown Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I always heard stories that the original 1869 Reds would go there and have a beverage now and then.
Wow.
I wonder if that's true.
I don't know.
That would be cool to find out. What do you think, Dave?
I would venture to say yes, because
Probably so.
Bar, this side of the Mississippi, been around forever.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about Fred Watterson, the Wright brothers, those guys. I mean, those guys were players. First year they were 57-0.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how those guys played, and they got the plaque in front of the Union Terminal. You know about that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it used to be the Union grounds where they actually played baseball. The Red Stockings, 1869, that was their home field.
Yeah.
And, back then, I've heard stories of 20,000 people showing up to watch them play ball.
Yep.
That's crazy. And it goes from that, and then the Palace of the Fans, and what was it, Red Stockings land, and then it went to Crossley Field, and then on to Riverfront. It'll always be Riverfront to me. And now we're at now we're at Great American. So I guess you're really getting old if you've seen and been to 3 different stadiums in your hometown.
I'll do you better getting old. Went back to I was driving through. I went to college at Marshall University in Huntington, West Virginia. And went back to, just visit campus. I was driving through there. And I'm like, it was right here. My dorm was right here. So, when the hospital you were born in and your dorm room in college are both gone, you're old. So I'm like, ouch.
Hey, the guys, when we played in Boston, we played at the Commons Park there. And some of the guys, they went to Harry Wright's house because he ended up in Boston, right?
Wow.
I actually got, one of the guys brought me a shingle that fell off his roof. I still got it.
Well, speaking of Arnold's, going back to that for a minute, great little neat bar. And there's a really, really dear friend of ours. His name of his band is Jake Speed and the Freddies.
Oh, yeah.
We've had some nights, we used to have kind of like opening for the baseball season. And Jake's an English teacher and unbelievable. Really, him and his guys, very talented, kind of like old timey music, so to speak. And he's written songs about Reds and Red Stockings, and one is Azago the Men, and it's a great song if you look it up on Spotify or YouTube or whatever. But Jake Speed and the Freddies, and sings about the 1869 Red Stockings and how neat it was. But we'd have those nights at Arnold's, and we'd be in there and we'd just be throwing out Cracker Jacks. We all be in uniform, and Jake was singing, and again, stuff like that. Who has that?
Right.
The benefits, the spillover, the travels and relationships and friendships and events. And we've played at Riverfront. We've played at Great American. We get, used to give us 2 or 3 innings to do a year. And the first time I'm there, you talk about nervous. I said, my pregame speech is like, well, boys, make your decision. make an out or an air, but you're going to make one or two. So get ready for it. You're playing in front of 20, 30,000 people pre-game, but just things that have brought to our lives, our families, and we were just blessed beyond to do a big part of it.
Oh yeah, when the Big Red Machine was rolling, 75, 76, after they won the World Series, I'll never forget my father saying, "You want to go downtown with all the other crazies?" I said, "Let's go, man." It was just a blast to be a part of that. The 70s with the Reds.
I went to the event in 1990 when they won. When Chris Sabo got up there and he's like, "We won everything. The hell with them,"
We got the money, we got the rings, got everything. Thank you.
Yeah, it was funny. Going back, a thing came to my mind when you were talking about Johnny and Pete. I remember the restaurants that they had in Cincinnati.
Northgate, your neck of the woods.
Johnny Bench's home plate, and Pete. I don't remember the name of Pete Rose's restaurant, but I remember going there.
Wasn't that it? Pete Rose's restaurant, I thought.
It may have been. That may have been the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And it's funny you talk about Chris Sabo and now his daughter's
Annie.
That's funny. She does a great job.
She really does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So it's growing up in Cincinnati I wouldn't change a thing. I know, Scott, you're from New York, and you had let's face it, the Yankees were how many World Series went through that place, and the team they had. The stars there, the Mickey Mantles, the Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig's, those guys, and even like you said with Aaron Judge now and Judge, and then they just had so many good players, Yogi Berra. So baseball, come on. I always tell everybody it's the greatest sport in the world. I get a lot of criticism because, football is kind of starting to take over a little bit here, but Cincinnati will always, I don't care what they do, will always be a baseball city.
You're right. And America's game is football. There's no doubt. You look at the numbers and everything, but I always, we're having discussions. I asked people, I said, what do you think means more to the city and surrounding tri-state area? Reds winning World Series or Bengals Super Bowl? And so many people say Bengals Super Bowl. I said, well, no. But you don't know about a little old lady in Western Hills that's sitting there and keeping a scorecard at her game, listening to the radio. You don't think about the guy down in Indiana farmer that's just plowing fields and listening. You don't think about the guy from West Virginia that saved a whole week's of sun just to bring his kids up, to attend a game. And there's a lot of closet fans and a lot of people, they can't afford that, a couple $100 ticket to go down and see one of the 8-10 home games in football. So, it pains me to say that America's game is football, but I think Monterey's right. I think Cincinnati, we are a baseball town.
And I have to capitalize on that question or that statement with this, and you guys I know, and I want you to talk about this because you've been involved in it. I've been to them. There is nothing that I've ever attended ever in my life that comes bigger than opening day in Cincinnati.
It's the best.
Well, I got to tell you a story quick before Danny hops onto it. So you talk about his little grandson. Was he 3? Danny, or 2?
Joey was, Timmy was 1. He was 1.
So he gets a uniform made. We had a lady that would sew these uniforms, and so he got it to his size. He's an opening day parade, and Timmy, a precocious little fellow, he was able to walk, and and so he let him walk, and people are just going crazy. And I told Dan and his wife and everybody, I said that little guy had the whole Cincinnati in the palm of his hand. He was the star of the show that day. We always say that. And of course, now fast forward, he's 16, 17, just a wonderful.
He's
wonderful
15 now. He's 15, and I got his uniform framed up with he made front page of the paper, the Inquirer, and and my granddaughter the next year, and she was in a commercial her first year doing opening day parade. But those are memories you can't replace. And that's what's vintage baseball. If it wasn't for vintage baseball, none of that would have happened. And that's why I love the game so much, baseball in general, but the things that come along with it with being a Cincinnati Red Stocking vintage ball players, you can't beat it. You just can't do it. It's
I don't know if you guys are hackers. We're hackers for golf in the off season type of thing. And I've never had a hole in one, and I would love to, but if you set me down, you could only play one of the two. There's no question it would be baseball. I mean, it's just that you're out there and you're looking around on a beautiful sunny day, and if you're having a good day, it makes it easier. But it's like this is heaven. This is nirvana. And
Yeah.
speaking of, we did go out to the Field of Dreams. That's another one, which was a highlight. We're out there and we got pictures like we're coming out of the cornfield, and then my son didn't know it enough because they were younger, but if he was probably thinking, I was like, "Hey, Dad, can we have a catch?" I mean,
Oh,
take your kids
man.
to the Field of Dreams, and we were lucky. Unfortunately, since they started playing major league games out there, and there's been some issues with commercial versus the family, kind of thing. But we were there, and it's pure purity of the field before a lot of stuff how it's grown now. But again, just probably the greatest baseball movie ever, and there's been a lot of them.